You finally decided to make the plunge, right? You put your house up on the market. You had professional pictures taken. You kept the house clean, and it didn't sell. Bummer, right? I want to talk to you about an option for possibly getting your home sold for the price you want and faster than what you could have done previously. My name is John Baptiste. I'm one of the owners here at local realty agency Mid-Cities. In today's current high interest rate environment, assumable mortgages have gained a lot of traction and attention from home buyers and sellers alike. What is an assumable mortgage? That's where the buyer takes over your mortgage terms. That would be your payment, your interest rate, and the time period that's remaining on the balance. For example, you got your home 4 or 5 years ago. You got a great rate. It was 2-3%. You were just like loving life, right? Remember those days? Now, today, rates are at 7%, right? So first of all, that was the first kicker in why you probably weren't looking to sell your home in the first place. Who wants to go from a 3 to a 7? But if you can market your home with an assumable mortgage, that 3% rate can now be transferred to a new buyer. Therefore, if you have a VA, FHA, or USDA loan, you could be eligible to offer that to the next buyer, which in turn will make your house more marketable versus a competing home that does not have a mortgage that's assumable. And that could be a conventional loan because conventional loans aren't assumable. At this point, if you're still here and tuned into this video, you're probably thinking, now, how does this work and how does it benefit me, right? The buyer gets a great deal, but what do I get? Well, you get to sell your home, right? That was the reason you put it on the market, was to get it sold. So if you want to get your home sold, my job is to market it in the best possible way. Now, the assumable loan option, your buyer, your qualified buyer who's looking for a home today is qualifying at 7%. In our example, you've got a 3% rate. Again, the big advantage for the buyer is the fact that you're offering a lower interest rate, which means lower payments for them. They're also going to have reduced closing costs. Unlike a traditional, your first-time mortgage, they're not going to have origination fees and things of that nature. Your loan servicer may have a processing fee, but outside of that, they're basically just assuming what you already have. Closing times can vary. Again, that depends on your loan processor, but typically we're looking at 30 to 45 days for that loan to get closed. For you, the seller, the big thing is increased marketability. So when you're scrolling on Zillow, because that's what everyone does, we're scrolling on Zillow and you see that, hey, this house is assumable. It's a 3% mortgage. It's only 27 years left versus this next house that's below it. It's a regular, I can get it for a 7% mortgage. Which one do you think people want to go see? They're going to want to go see your house. This could potentially lead to a higher price for you as well because the buyer may be willing to pay a premium to get this lower interest rate. Now, there are some pros and cons. The first being the fact that you have to have an FHA, VA, or USDA loan. And you didn't purchase your home with one of the down payment assistance programs that were tied to that because that would have to be paid off first. The qualifying process you're just not taking payments from somebody and then paying the mortgage. No, they still need to qualify so that it can be a legal process where they now assume your mortgage. You've moved on. You're no longer responsible for the property. You've got your money, and that's what you wanted, right? You wanted to get the house sold so you can move on to wherever you're going to next. The big thing that most agents may tell you or people may say is, well, yeah, you can assume the loan, but the buyer has to bring the gap. What's the gap? You owe X. It's worth Y. That gap, the buyer has to bring that gap. So let's say it's a $350 balance, loan balance, $400 value. They have to come with a $50,000 down payment. Now you're saying, John, you're crazy. Who's got $50,000 put down on a house? So remember, if they're willing to pay for a $400,000 house at a 7% rate, but now they can get that same house, $400,000 at the 3% rate, they can take their existing down payment, whatever that may be, and maybe qualify for an additional loan to cover the difference. To wrap this up, assumable mortgages now offer a very unique opportunity for a buyer to purchase a new home and assume a lower interest rate and lower payments in a shorter time frame versus getting a new loan 30 years at current rates. And for you, the seller, it allows you to more marketability and possibly obtain a higher sales price. If you have any further questions, feel free to leave a comment below or reach out to me directly to see if we can possibly help you get your home sold.